Okay, let's talk about finding the inverse of a quadratic equation. Basically what we have here, first rule is if you have an f of x, replace it with y. Since it's already done here, first step is already done. Second step is to switch the x and y values. So notice when I switch that, this now becomes x equals y squared plus 3. Now, when I say switch the x and y's, this does not become x squared equals y plus 3. That is incorrect because you're not switching the x and y's. So, what you need to do is once you have it switched, now we're going to solve for y. I need to subtract 3 from both sides. When I do that, I get x minus 3 equals y squared. Now when I take the square root of both sides, I have to make sure I do plus or minus to count for a positive and negative solution. So when I do that, I get y equals plus or minus square root of x minus 3. When I rewrite it to show it's an inverse, I have f of x, so the inverse notation, equals plus or minus the square root of x minus 3. When you have a number that's inside the equation, it still works the same way, but we got to get rid of the square first. The first thing I'm going to do is replace f of x with y. Now, switch the x and y's, so this becomes x equals y minus 8 squared. Now, to get rid of the square, I take the square root of both sides, but make sure once again you do plus or minus. When I do that, I get plus or minus the square root of x equals y minus 8. Now, to get the y by itself, I'm going to add 8 to both sides, and I get 8 plus or minus the square root of x equals y. To show it's an inverse, I replace the y with inverse notation, and I end up with f inverse of x equals 8 plus or minus the square root of x. And that's how you find the inverse of a quadratic equation.